Welcome to the College Football Show presented by AT&T. What a Week 12 it has been thus far. The top 4 teams in the country go on the road to face unranked teams. Sometimes that spells trouble. We will talk about that, as well as some college football playoff implications. And guys, we have the most special guest coming on our show that we have ever had. So stay tuned for that in a matter of minutes. Matt Sims, Skubie Mageza, I am Sam Ravech. Great to have you with us. Please interact with us in the chat for those who are watching on the ESPN College Football YouTube page.
I'm looking.
We'll be monitoring that all show long. In the month of November, guys, there are 2 types of teams. There are spoilers, and there are teams that are trying to go out and win.
Button. Do we dare?
Let's hit it.
Let's go.
Here we go. Tennessee on the goal line. 3rd and goal against Georgia.
Perfect time to get in. Let's go. We're not necessarily Tennessee fans.
No,
we just like touchdowns. He played for Tennessee, so
yeah. I was going to say, I was like, no, actually, I am a Tennessee fan.
I just want madness.
Wow, so what a start for Tennessee on the road. Guys, the winner of this game, essentially a lock for the college football playoff. Nice little play here.
I like it a lot, too.
I mean, great drive to start the game by Tennessee, and it's thanks to a penalty early on in that drive, Sam.
Yeah, pass interference helped get him down there into the red zone. And Nico, really strong opening drive there. Had a 3rd and long, ran it, got the first down. That was impressive. And just nice poise and composed for a quarterback, by the way, that had question marks as to whether or not he was even going to play.
That was going to be my thing. Him coming into the game, the questionable status that he had. It was, will he play, will he not? And to have him in this game is all the difference, being able to get away from that Georgia pass rush.
And let's always just remind people at home that Tennessee, really what they rely on this whole football season is the fact that they are a really physical defense, and they can duplicate a lot of the things that Ole Miss did to Georgia a week ago. So we got to keep our eye on that. Tim Banks, one of the better assistant coaches of the year right now, I think, because of what he has done with this defensive unit. Really deep on the defensive line. James Pierce leading that way, a potential first-round defensive end, game record type of football player. But the defense, I mean, just take a look at, man, this defensive secondary, too, can lock down this skill group of Georgia.
Real quick
Am I biased? Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Well, maybe a little bit. Real quick on Georgia, guys, because, look, like the sky is falling in Athens right now. You could even sense it on some of the fans' faces there at College Game Day this morning. They have not lost back-to-back games in the regular season since Kirby Smart's first year in 2016. I mean, they just don't do that. It's similar to Alabama when we were talking about them having the 2 losses, but they've been able to play well with their backs up against the wall.
Yeah.
Maddie, what are some keys for Georgia in this game? What do you want to see them get back to?
The keys for Georgia, I mean, just can they control the line of scrimmage on the offensive side, right?
Yep.
And they don't necessarily have to run the ball extremely well, but the fact that they have injuries at the running back position are a concern.
Yeah.
Nate Frazier, he's talented. He's a freshman. We like what we've seen from this young man, but he has had an issue of holding onto the football in key games. Now, hey, Ole Miss last week, it was raining. It was a poor situation for anyone to really have great ball security, but you have to think that Tennessee will be keying on the young running back in that same situation this weekend. For Carson Beck, can you give him some drive starters? They have a lot of plays where they have thrown the ball near or at the line of scrimmage, and they're hoping that their skill group tries to break tackles. They didn't do that last week. Will that be something that they try to go to again, or will they be more aggressive down the field?
We mentioned Maddie, of course, played at Tennessee, but the best part about it is we actually have some tape to prove that you actually played.
Oh, my God. No way.
You know we got to bring it up, Matt. Look at that. Look at that throwing form. That thing was a laser.
These are the highlights.
That must have felt good.
That was a good throw right there. Can't lie.
Hell, you caught him in stride.
Notice how all these highlights are for against UAB here, man, not in the SEC. All right.
Hey,
but I still threw the ball.
I didn't see the name of the helmet. Come on, man.
Wait, whoa!
Oh.
That's 15 yards
now. It was. Well, you see, it was really low. But I appreciate you picking that game because that was actually one of the few games that I actually played decent in. So I appreciate it.
That is hilarious. Well, the SEC is heating up. We know that Texas had a huge game to date in order to prove themselves to the committee, and Arkansas was hosting them, right? Arkansas has already beat a top 5 team in Tennessee early on in the season, so can they do it with Texas here? We'll start in the first quarter. Taylor Green looks to pass, and we always say tip balls and overthrows.
Got to get those.
Yes, sir. Za'Dai Barrett, he got it.
He had a day, number 7, all over the field for this team.
And then Quinn Ewers will toss it to a wide open Matthew Golden.
Shocker. Fake receiver screen, touchdown down the field for Texas in the red zone. Come on, defenses, watch the film.
Wide open, nobody in the area code. Fast forward to the third. And the freshman, Colin Simmons, was playing like a man possessed. Second sack of the day. Longhorns had 6 sacks on the day, the most this season. And Matt, you love this kid.
I love this guy. He is going to be a game wrecker. He is going to be one of those guys that they make huge impacts. Number 11, too. A little Derek Johnson homage there, right, for the double sticks.
Well, Jaquindon Jackson for Arkansas hasn't played since October the 19th. Back in the lineup. Gets them in striking distance there. And now we're getting into pay dirt. Get in there. 3+3. 11 carries for 56 yards and that touchdown on the day. We go to the fourth quarter. Texas has their lead cut to 3. We got a ball game. Jaden Blue, he's got the rock. He's got Green. Running. Fumble. Oh, come on.
That was the play right there for Arkansas to get back in the football game because they really took momentum back. But then here, this great sprint out right by Quinn Ewers. Little sting route, they call it. Fake the go or the fade, run back to that front pylon. Beautiful throw right there to the front pylon by Quinn Ewers. And Bolden getting the catch in.
Yeah, Golden, second touchdown of the day. And then C.J. Brown, he gets a rock here from Taylor Green, fumbles it. Listen, Arkansas has had a fumbling problem this year. Lost 8 of them coming in, 22 dropped on the year. Texas gets the win. And in it, Quinn Ewers is now tied for 4th all-time in program history for passing touchdowns, tied with a person that Matt knows pretty well, if I might say. Who would that be?
Oh, Christopher Sims. Yeah, there he is, number 58 there. And I was fortunate enough to see a lot of those, especially on the home field there at Texas, which was an awesome environment. It's even on steroids, more so now than ever. But, yeah, pretty awesome that my brother's on that title right there.
Yeah, look who it is. Look who it is. Oh, in studio.
We're not worthy.
What's going on, Chris? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be on here with you guys. Man, I'm just watching college football. I'm in the studio, yes, like you said. And hold on, I'm trying to get the camera straight here so I look like I'm on the but, yeah, I'm trying to keep my eyes on some games right now, watching Tennessee, watching our game on NBC where we got Oregon and Wisconsin going at it. So just like you guys, trying to keep pace with everything.
No doubt.
Yeah, it is a long day of just trying to keep up with all this college football going on. And let's just talk about the game that we did the highlight on for Texas. What are some of the things that stood out to you? Because this is a game where it was a little bit of a marathon for them to be able to get this win.
Yeah, not easy. You know, rivalry game. Arkansas is a big deal when you get down there in that part of the country to Texas, right? You know, Pig Suey, all that. Arkansas, a pretty good team, one of those under the radar. Yeah, I know they're not in the college football playoff conversation or all that, but played tough football throughout the year. I think the defense, what we saw from our D today was real. It's an impressive group there. I wish we could run the football better as far as Texas, what I'm talking about, you know, being a little concerned about that and that aspect and the fact that when the passing game's not hitting on all cylinders, we can't lean on the run game a little bit there. But all in all, there's no doubt we're one of the better, more consistent teams in all of college football. And we got some playmakers at wide receiver and at quarterback, of course, and then some defensive players I heard you guys talking about that are top notch.
All right, well, slow down. You're not the real UT there, Chris Sims, okay? All right,
What?
but no. But he knows I always tease him with that. But, you know, Christopher, my brother, bro man, you know, Brohemian. What do you think about Sark's offense and kind of just the way that they've been they've been critical, we've been critical of how they're kind of more at the line of scrimmage with their passing game. Do you think Sark needs to try to open it up with their skill group, or is this kind of just what they are at this point in the year and this is how they need to continue to win games?
I think that they're trying to use the short passing game a little bit for a substitute of that lack of a running game there. And I also think they're still trying to protect their offensive line to a degree and be a little bit picky and choosy about when they want to hold the ball and throw the ball down the football field. And then I think on top of that, I think Quinn Ewers has something to do with that too. Quinn, as you guys know, for college football this day and age, he's a below average mover and runner, right? So he's not going to make a lot of plays with his legs. And the other thing he does at times, and where I think this might also be a reason they call quicker developing pass plays, is he does hold the ball where he won't get off the number one read. Right? When I watch some film of him and stuff, at times I go, man, if Sark doesn't dial it up perfectly, he'll just sit there and keep patting the ball until somebody, that one comes open. And you're like, no, come on, move to 2, move to 3, move to 4. Let's go. But all in all, as I said, this is a real good football team and definitely one of the best teams in college football.
Chris, we focus on these skill position groups, and it was fascinating to me what Sark did with this skill position group, right? They lose, 4 players to the NFL. They reload out of the transfer portal, and Coach Sark has continuity, though, on that offensive line. It's been fascinating to watch how he has built this program, and it seems like it's built to last. What do you like about what he has done down there in Austin since he got there?
Yeah, I think you said it. It's built to last, right? We just got this thing jump-started, and I think he's got to go and in the direction we'd all like it to as far as Texas fans and everything there. He's a very good recruiter. He's got a little charisma and pizzazz about him, right? Can talk some crap to the players and, got that right touch of can give you the hot poker, but also make you feel loved. And then he's creative. I mean, he's definitely one of the more creative pass game planners there are in football. Yep. And then with the resources you got down there at Texas, and Matt could tell you, I mean, he's been there a lot. Right, we know it's a special school. They got a lot of money. They got all that. And as long as they got a coach like him there, I would think this continues to roll and we get back to Texas of the old days where we're a top 5 team every year for the most part.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Chris Sims and Roy Williams in this Steve Sarkisian offense, that's for sure. But, all right, now, who is on your...
I'd like to have seen that, too, and I'd like to have seen, some of this money of the NIL era. That's what I'd like to see.
I wouldn't have made any money, but you would have made a ton of money, bro. All right, who is on your Mount Rushmore of Texas football?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think there's 3 that I think are undeniable, right? Ricky Williams right off the bat, right? Earl Campbell, no doubt about it, and Vince Young, no doubt about it. Then it gets debatable and where you want to go. I think I'd probably go Tommy Nobis, right? Old linebacker, number 60 back in the day, 2-time All-American. I mean, played in the NFL for a long time. He'd probably be the guy I'd look at to go is next in that. But there's Bobby Lane in the old school days. Right. There's James Street, who was the quarterback of all those great teams in the 60s that won the national championship and all that. But I think my 4 would be the one I'd go with.
All right. Final question, because the conversation around Texas is who have they beat? Their best win is Vanderbilt.
Oh, he said it, not me,
right?
Chris.
I'm just saying that's a talk of the streets. So as you look towards the end of the season, how strongly do you feel about Texas being able to win it all?
I guess I would say Oregon is clearly the number 1 team for me. Oregon, the way they play offense and defense, and I think after the first 2 weeks of the season, they've been the most consistent team in college football. But after that, I think we're right in the running of this thing as far as being that next team up. Quality roster. I know the quality wins aren't there, but we got A&M in 2 weeks. Hopefully that changes everybody's view of us, but certainly think we're one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the game.
We lied. One more for you, Chris. We got Thanksgiving coming up next week. What does Thanksgiving look like in the Sims household? We got Papa Phil out there. You guys drawing up plays? What's going on?
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, no, Papa Phil will be there. He's old. He's washed up. He can't do a whole lot. Right? So he's not going to do much. It's going to be me and Matt out there trying to get the family together and having a little fun that way.
Oh, look at the process, Matt.
Enjoy the day and watch some games and maybe have a few adult beverages, at least me.
Yeah. No, we're scrolling through some great pictures. I mean, it looks like a blast in the Sims household. I wish we were invited, but maybe that'll come next year. Chris, really appreciate you taking the time. And have a great night. A great night of college football ahead of us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Take care of that knucklehead brother I got.
We try. We can only do so good. But thanks again, Chris. Really appreciate it.
Love you, dude.
All right, let's roll on here. 2-loss Missouri team somehow survived. That was great, by the way. I really thank Chris for coming on here.
Terrible haircut, but I love him.
It was a tight button up there. All right, Mizzou has won 5 straight over the Gamecocks. This game went all the way down to the wire, guys. Here's a nice throw. Luther Burden shakes a defender.
Man.
Missouri up. 28-27 now.
Yep.
And a rush into the end zone. Noel That was actually Collins there. So now it's 30-27. Little pitch play here.
Same shuffle pass that they got from Vanderbilt, preparing for Alabama right there. Bails them out of a big situation there for the touchdown.
Raheem Sanders looks like a completely different running back. And then desperation time, Brady Cook airing it out. And South Carolina picks up the win 34-30.
Wow.
They are the best 3-loss team in the entire country, in my opinion. And I don't think that you can absolutely rule them out of the college football playoff yet.
Dude, and I'm telling you right now, I was tough on Lenora Sellers early on in the year. I said they were one-dimensional on offense. Lenora Sellers.
5 touchdowns.
I mean, he's next.
Yeah.
He's next in the. We're all talking about Arch in the future there. I'm telling you, this guy, Lenora Sellers, he's a talented guy.
I would add DJ Lagway, though, Scoop, to that.
All right, yeah, and well, let's go ahead and check out what DJ Lagway did as LSU heads into the swamp to take on Florida. Tigers still got a shot to make some type of postseason hype with some help, though. So let's see what they do. First quarter, Florida with the ball. DJ Lagway, you mentioned him. He hits Elijah Badger, who had himself a day. 6 catches, 131 yards, and that tutty.
Badger don't give a damn.
Strike first, 7-0, second quarter.
Back shoulder throw, I love it.
Garrett Nussmeier said, man, stop playing with me. I does this too. Who do you think you are? I am.
That's right.
The Nuss bus right there.
Yep.
Getting hit while he threw that little stutter seam there versus the too high safety. Look, beautiful throw.
That was Aaron Anderson on the touchdown reception, as you see it. Then, listen, Florida, they got Trey Schmack going for a 55-yard field goal, which would tie the school record. And it's good. My boy's in the record books. And Florida's starting to hit field goals like this. You in trouble. About a minute later, Tigers with the ball. Nussmeier looking lost in the pocket. Loses the rock here. Check out this wild sequence, right? It's fumbled once, recovered, fumbled another time, and then recovered to the point where Florida gets the ball. Big man happy, big man celebrating. We go to the fourth quarter. Gators with the ball. Lagway under a lot of pressure in the pocket.
Wow.
And who else does he find?
This was the best throw of the day.
Badger.
Oh, that was a fantastic throw. Moving up in the pocket, too, to avoid Swinson, one of the best defenders on that LSU defense right there. Throwing on the run and just a dime there. Beautiful throw on the move.
Next play, Jacoby Jackson says, excuse me, I have reservations for 6. Gators make it a 7-point lead. Fourth quarter, Florida trying to put them in a coffin. Jaden Barr. This is the true freshman. He said, let me do it. Barr, I like the way you do that right there. You can't catch him. That's it. Brian Kelly cannot believe it. Let's go ahead and hang it up. Gators stun the Tigers 27-16 in the huge win right here, Matt. And Florida, a team where at one point we were calling for them to fire Billy Napier. It just looked like the ceiling was collapsing, and here they are, standing with still a shot to make a bowl game. And DJ Lagway, shout out to him for stepping up the way that he played.
I mean, all their losses are against top 5 football teams.
It's a brutal schedule.
Top 15 football teams,
brutal.
Right? And what we saw there today, when they're matched up with, I guess, someone that's a little bit closer to the level that they are at right now. Now, LSU, they're a battle-tested football team. They got outclassed a week ago by Texas. They come back, LSU at home. The stadium was rocking. Haven't seen the swamp like that all year.
Yeah.
They wanted that game today. But the 7 sacks, the 11 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, 2 of them on the same play. I mean, Florida did some really impressive things on the defensive side of the football. LSU really possessed the football, it seemed like, the entire football game and did absolutely nothing with it. You know, it's unbelievable how Florida was able to capitalize when they did on some of these plays and just, you know, really happy for Billy Napier. What a signature win it is for him with all the struggles that he's been, you know, through this season, the scrutiny and all that. Big signature win for Billy Napier in this program.
Well, I think a huge vote of confidence for Billy Napier, right?
No doubt.
I mean, Scott Strickland came out, the AD for Florida said, nope, we're keeping him next year.
Yep.
So save it, Florida fans. And they went out there and they laid an egg, right, against Texas. They got walloped in that game. And then they come back home. It was incredibly loud there down at the Swamp.
Yep.
And that is a statement win for Billy Napier after all of the noise, like you said. And now you can build something going forward. You can take a little bit of momentum. You say, we got to win against LSU. Now, for LSU, This is back-to-back weeks now where it's just like we're searching for answers now.
Right.
And,
the one issue I had really in this football game is that they had a great play designed for their receiver to get an easy touchdown. It's basically like essentially a pick play.
Right.
They get the touchdown. They get called for pass interference. They have to settle for a field goal. And that really was the difference of the game. If they score a touchdown there in that situation, right, it changes the whole outcome of this football game. But because they weren't detailed enough in the execution of how you run those type of pick plays, and they made it so obvious the refs had to call it, that really was the difference, though, that those small mental errors by LSU, because they had 92 plays on offense. 92 compared to Florida's 43, and they came away with the loss.
It was a staggering difference in terms of time of possession. Yeah. That's something you brought up. LSU, 41 minutes and 43 seconds time of possession. Florida, 18 minutes and 17 seconds. That's the second fewest in the last 20 seasons in which a team has been able to have that little time of possession and still get the win. So shout out to Florida for being able to do that. And then, Sam, to your point with LSU, how do you lose this game?
I don't know.
You dominated it from everything that's on the box score, but the little things, and this is where you see it in a football game, where the little things can make all the difference in damaging. How you're in the red zone, how you're on third down, is a quarterback getting hit constantly. And Florida was just able to capitalize on a few plays that made the difference.
This is one of the more underrated defenses, by the way. With all the injuries that they've also had this year.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Florida's defense is spectacular, much improved from last year.
7 sacks,
which is hard to say
since 2019.
Considering what we saw a week ago against Texas, right? Yeah. But they do have a lot of talent, and this was a perfect matchup for them against LSU, the style in which LSU plays. And really, Florida made some tremendous plays and really played harder. That's the key. They were just the tougher, played harder football team from start to finish.
All right, so Florida picks up the win 27-16 over LSU. Let's check out what's going on in the Big 12 because it was strength versus strength in this game. Number one defense taking on the number one offense. Utah and Colorado. The Buffs have won 3 straight and 6 of their last 7. They are in control of their own destiny. 7 minutes into the game, Utah up 3-0. Shedeur Sanders sends a missile to the end zone. Will Shepard with the contact, 40-yard score. Colorado takes the lead 7-3. Still in the first, Utah punting. Careful when you're putting away to LeJonte Wester because he's going to return this one 76 yards to the house. It was their first punt return touchdown since 2022. How about the wheels for Wester?
Unbelievable. And for Utah, hey, you got to defend the middle of the field on punt right there. You can't give guys like this the amount of space that he had right there, and he made them pay with it.
Near the end of the first, 3rd and 7 for Utah, Isaac Wilson throws a balloon. And it's picked
Who
up.
else?
Travis Hunter, 12.
Yes, sir.
With the pick. And he's going to hit him with the Heisman celly here. Don't worry. More to come from Travis Hunter in this one.
Flag for that, by the way.
Little petty.
Keep doing it.
Here's Hunter again. By the way, quadruple coverage. Let's just throw it up there.
Don't matter. I catch. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Just like Pokemon, sometimes you just got to catch them all, Sam.
That play was on
He's a shadowless Charizard right there.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, you like that reference? What a nerd I am.
If you know, you know.
That's Shepard once again with the touchdown. He had 2 in this game. Early in the third, scored 21-9. Colorado at the Utah 37 after an interception. How about the wheels from Isaiah Augustov, who dusts the Utah defense, 37-yard score. We go to the fourth. Beginning of the fourth, Colorado still a bit of a tight game. Utah just came down and scored.
Oh, look at this throw.
Excellent pass. Draylon Miller.
Get
a nice
off
route.
of him.
And he fights his way into the end zone, doesn't give up till he gets there. 35-16, Utah not done. How about the box out from tight end Caleb Lohner? This is literally like a basketball play. They go for 2, and they would get it. 55 in for the score there. Colorado needing an answer here. And a fumble.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this is a big play right there. Lander Barton coming up with the fumble recovery. Had the interception early on in the football game. That dude was everywhere. He played hard.
6 minutes left in the game. Buffalo's defense closing in on Wilson here. This is maybe one of the biggest changes of this team this year, has been on the defensive side, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just starts with the defensive front right now. I mean, Hill Green at linebacker's doing a great job, though. Keaton Wade at linebacker as well. Amari McNeil and B.J. Green really disruptive on that front 7.
Just Travis Hunter.
That's a Heisman play.
Travis Hunter thing.
That's a Heisman type of play right there. Yep, hit him with it again. To be able to reverse field, take it up, in a touchdown, honestly, that was able to really put Utah away.
First player since 96 to record 20 receiving yards and a rushing touchdown and an interception in a single game. Colorado wins big, 49-24.
He's already done that.
4 in a row for Colorado. This one kind of felt like a statement win to me, guys, I think, when you really look at it. Against the best defense in the conference, they go out there and they put up 49 points. Shedeur throws for 340 yards. Did Colorado's performance today solidify them as the best team in the Big 12, Scoop?
Absolutely. This was a game where I thought Colorado could get got because coming into it, Utah was second in completion percentage allowed, 18th in passing yards per game. They were first in the country in third down conversions, and they could get to the quarterback and put pressure on him. They didn't get a lot of sacks, but they were top 20 in pressure percentage. So one thing we've seen about Colorado is Shedeur Sanders still takes a lot of sacks, 28 of them on the season, which isn't great. That's ranked in the back half, but it's improved as the season has gone along. And then that defense has stepped up. You saw the quarterback, Isaac Wilson, get a lot of pressure from that defensive front, and then the special team steps up and makes some plays. What we're seeing here from Colorado is a team that even when they're down, because they were down in this game, and then they came back to win, and last week, they were down in that game and came back to win. You got coaches who can make adjustments. You got a team that has unwaverable faith, and you got people who are cheering them on. I mean, look at LeBron James right here, just talking about the haters.
He's just calling the haters out.
Right?
That's all.
Just calling out the haters that didn't want to show a lot of love to Colorado, but over here, we show love to Colorado, man.
Oh, how about Travis Hunter? I mean, you said he solidified kind of his Heisman candidacy today. I know you were a little bit skeptical. I mean, even just missing some games.
Well, that's where I was concerned. I wasn't sure if he would have like the resume because he was out, right, with his injuries. But
Are you sold?
What I watched today, again, you know, if he's not there in New York, I'm not watching the show. So he at least has to be there in discussion. And for us to hear that story that they always do for all these Heisman, voters, like, because it's just tremendous what he does for this football team and the belief they have in him.
You think next level he's a wide receiver, though?
I am not sure exactly what he is at the next level. It really is hard to pinpoint it. I would probably prefer to see him develop more as a receiver. I think that he can sharpen those skills. You know, today he was in a one-on-one situation, and Deion said, hey, he let the defender go, the offensive player go right by him in a go route. But I'm not quite so sure if he is like that true lockdown corner at the next level. Either way, he's a great football player, and it's a good problem to have for them at the next level. But he is a next-level type of football player. Yeah. What he is yet, I don't know. He's a jack of all trades, and that's a good thing. The key, though, for this team, right, and really I think for football fans in general, Utah decided to go with, we're going to confuse them at the line of scrimmage with multiple looks, and then bail out of it and try to play coverage and have Shedeur throw into coverage, into confusing looks. That totally backfired on them. Utah really should have been like, you know what? We're just going to get up in their grill. We're going to be aggressive. We are going to pressure the quarterback, and we are just going to collapse the pocket consistently because they have the Johnnies and Joes to do that. But they went with we're going to try to confuse the quarterback route by mixing up our looks in the secondary. It worked on the first play of the game. After that, Shedeur had no problem versus some of those 3- and 4-man rushes, manipulating the pocket, which he does as well as anyone in college football, and making really good decisions as the game continued to go on.
This is probably the most impressive win of the season for me. I know you gave up 24 points to Utah, a team that didn't score 23 against any Power 4 opponents the whole season, but your defense was still able to keep it together. Your offense puts up 40-plus points in back-to-back games.
Yeah.
I mean, Colorado, you might as well put 30 on the scoreboard as soon as the game starts because that's what the offense is going to do. They're just such a dynamic team in the way that they're going to hit you on the offensive side, and they put so much pressure on the other offense that they're going against that it automatically becomes a track meet. And their defense, right now, compared to Miami, Colorado's defense versus Miami defense, I'm taking Colorado with the way
you have a little bit more faith in them, right, from what you've seen. And there's a certain level of toughness to them when you watch them. And there's a certain level of just like we think that we're bad A's, and I like that. And
a chip.
You know, there's no doubt, right? And what I also really appreciate too is Isaac Wilson. He's, I don't know what the bus ride or the plane ride. He's beat up.
Oh yeah.
And that's the key. When you beat up the opposing team's quarterback, and you are felt as a presence on the opposing team, that's really all you need. That's the victory in itself of just saying, hey, Can you keep hanging in there? Because we're going to keep playing hard. Shiloh Sanders, hey, he put the cherry on top at the end. When there was a crucial situation there, they said, you know what, we're going to bring Shiloh Sanders off the edge with a safety blitz. And he decapitated Wilson in that situation. And you knew from there, of course, that was game over, but just they're able to take those body blows, right, to other teams now defensively that I think was missing from a year ago.
They got something cooking down there, and superfan Peggy on her 100th birthday got the win that she was hoping for. So yeah, it is all going right in Colorado, in Boulder, and it's all going right for Shedeur Sanders, who continues to be at or near the top of the draft class. So Maddie, let's go ahead back to the touchscreen and break it down a little bit more with Shedeur. All right, time now for the playbook presented by Modelo. Let's go back to the touchscreen with our very own QB, Matt Sims. Maddie, we talk about Shedeur Sanders, one of, if not the top prospect coming out as a quarterback this year. Went for another 340 today, but it didn't start great for him.
No, it didn't start great, but this is what I love about, quarterbacks that have a ton of experience too, and also just have that internal belief within themselves. If they make a mistake, it doesn't matter. They're going to keep playing. We've seen that with Cam Ward with the highlights we've done this year. We see it again here with Shedeur Sanders. And what we're going to start the game off here, a simple concept that they have run consistently throughout the year. They're going to basically do like a double post concept with the back and the flat. So for Shedeur, it's the double post, inside post, outside post to the back and the flat as your read right through 1, 2 to 3. What the Utah defense does really well here is they try to confuse throughout the game, trying to crowd the line of scrimmage as much as possible to make sure that they are confusing the quarterback at the line of scrimmage, but also the offensive line. In this situation right here, we see a 2-deep coverage. And all we're going to do is we're going to key this Mike backer. This Mike backer, Lander Barton, has done a great job in this game and really specifically reading the eyes of the quarterback. So he is eventually going to drop. They're going to rotate into a 3-deep, 4-under look. So safety in the middle right here, 4 defenders underneath right here, playing the deep throws on the outside. But watch Barton right here. He is going to do a great job of going to his hook spot and then getting eyes back to the quarterback, and by film and preparation, really knowing when to then go with the receiver that is running behind him. And he does a great job of cutting, breaking on the ball, and then a poor choice of throwing type by Shedeur, but nonetheless a fantastic reaction by the middle linebacker to get back in depth, read and diagnose the play, and then to make a cut on the football. And you can see it right here. Oh, someone did it for me right there.
There you go.
Right, but you can see how great job getting in the zone. He identifies the play, eyes back to the quarterback, great cut, pressure around, collapsing the pocket, forces the errant throw. Really good job catching the football, transitioning right there.
First play of the game. A lot of quarterbacks, many will say, all right, this is getting me down, I'm done. Not Shedeur. He comes back out firing, has a great game.
Yes, and this is the thing right here. Crucial situations, he made big-time plays. This was the first right here, 4th and 5 situation. They're down 3, and we're going to get Utah trying to cause frustration at the line of scrimmage. So we have 3 defenders on this side. We see here in this situation a lot of movement by these 4 defenders. So we don't really know who is coming. We're going to be in a tough situation protection-wise. So we got to know, hey, get the football out very quickly. And this concept right here, Colorado, going to run basically like all-go concept again, right? So simple read for Shedeur. If I have a one-on-one, I can take it. If not, I'm reading whether it's a 2-on-1 on the safety on either one of those seams. The key is, am I protected? He does a great job using snap count, right? And this is something that is a huge thing for NFL evaluators to see. He's using the game before the play being snapped, right, as an advantage. He gets them to jump off sides. He gets a free play, a la Aaron Rodgers, what he did his whole career. Utah does a really interesting defense. They kind of mix and match to go to a 2-deep look post-snap, but they leave the backside corner one-on-one with Shepard. And as soon as Shedeur sees that he's well protected, see how his eyes are down the middle? He sees that it's only a 4-man rush, immediately gets back to his one-on-one situation, one hitch, throw, and hey, these one-on-ones, my guy versus their guy, He trusts his guy. Will Shepherd did a great job all day winning these one-on-one matches, being strong, being physical, and high-pointing the football for a touchdown on 4th and 5.
This has not been a great 4th down team, and they're going up against the best defense, statistically speaking, in the conference. They were 2 for 2 today, and this is another great example.
This is another one right here, 14-6, crucial part of the game, too, just past midfield. But this really is, again, where it's, hey, don't worry about the plays. We're thinking about the players. And I got a great player at quarterback. I got a great player at receiver. Great receiving core in general.
Yeah.
And the offensive line is improving and doing better week by week. And right now, we're seeing a lot of communication. We get to the line of scrimmage. Utah mixing up their looks again with the concept we get here. Similar thought to before, a double post type of concept with now Travis Hunter from across the opposite side running the deep cross. So it's double post, 1, 2, to the deep cross being number 3. Key for this, though, I want you to watch right here. We see this pressure look. We're not exactly sure where we're getting. We have 4 men at the line of scrimmage at the snap. This defensive end drops out. 2 backers add on. So we have a 5-man pressure versus 7-man protection. So we know that we're protected. But watch Shedeur buy time. And why is he buying time? Because he knows it's 4th and 8. It doesn't matter if it's exactly how it's drawn up. The key is his coach, his father, is giving him the green light to say, I don't care what you do, get it done. This is a gotta-have-it situation, and he's saying, do what you got to do. He creates tremendous space from the line of scrimmage, giving you this opportunity to throw the deep cross to Travis Hunter, who does.
Wow.
I mean, look at that right there. So we're going to go to the emoji thing.
Yeah, let's
all
do
right,
it.
and we're just going to be
that's
like,
right.
oh
Yes.
my God.
Yeah.
Look
That's
at
what
that
we want
right
to
there,
see, Matt.
Okay, and that's where he belongs, right there in the center of the universe of all these emojis. But fantastic play. Way to contort his body in double coverage like that. And you can see that might have been the greatest read by Shedeur Sanders. It might not have been the proper decision, but he's got faith in his guy, and his guy has, you know, the best ball skills, ball tracking skills that we've seen in college football in a long time.
8 straight games with 250-plus pass yards and multiple touchdowns. I mean, Shedeur doesn't get enough credit for what he's doing. The offensive line has allowed him to do things like you just saw there on 4th down. Here he is putting the game on ice.
Yes, and this is a really fun play, too. And this is an NFL concept that you have seen, that we have seen really on all Sundays. Tom Brady used to run this play a lot. Wouldn't be shocked if that's who they stole the play from. We're going to get a hitch on the outside, right, by both guys. We get seams right here by the 2 slot receivers, and then essentially like a stick that probably can turn into an option route where it can go either in or out depending on the coverage. All right, so for him, it really is whatever triangle read you want to go to. So for young QBs, what do I mean by triangle? It's the top route, number 1, but then it is either secondary route. So that triangle is essentially how we're reading this concept. That same thing could be the same way mirrored on the top of the field. Typically with this in college, especially with the wide hashes, we want to be in the boundary because of how wide the hashes make the field. So this triangle read is easier. He's thinking seam right to down here. Now, if he had pressure, which, hey, right now, I don't know, it looks like we might be getting pressure. 5-man protection right here. We got 6 guys at the line of scrimmage. He's thinking, all right, I got to get the football out quick. At the snap, using snap count again as his weapon. As soon as he saw that, guess what? What was Utah doing? They were backing out. So now he's saying, you know what? I might have more time than I think. We're going to check it, make sure that we get into a play that we like to be aggressive against this bailout type of defense. And then what we get, clean pocket, 3-man rush. And now they drop into a sort of single high look here. And now this is what's neat about this football play right here. This flat defender is running to cover the hitch. All right, great job. This corner right here is responsible to fall off on this seam. Most corners can cover the ground and make a play on this seam route right here by Draylon. But what you can't coach is the precision accuracy of a 3-1 hitch and throw on the spot right. Corner's there. Made the break on it. He's pinching the offensive player. He can make a play, but only when it's a perfect throw can he not make a play. And that was a fantastic throw against a really good look. And then the great effort there on the end, right, from Miller to finish that off for the touchdown. And this was awesome. Draylon, man. Got it done for the touchdown right there. And the Buffs, they just, hey, man, they're not afraid. That's what I love about this football team. The defense is improving, and the offense is doing what they've always done. But now that they're well-rounded on both sides of the football, they're a real problem in the Big 12.
They've won 4 straight and are certainly in control of their own destiny to make it to the Big 12 title game. That was the Playbook presented by Modelo. Thank you very much, Matty.
Thank you,
All right,
sir.
time now for the 2-minute drill presented by the Wells Fargo Active Credit Card.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of cash, our friend Pat McAfee gave away quite a bit of it today on College Game Day. Henry Silver went out there winning some green. Silver, green, get it? Yep, there we go.
Yep.
And yes, by the way, he made the kick, right? $200,000 each to him and Belle. Belle was the woman who initially
Smart girl.
got the kick, and then she handed it off. Delegated. There's Belle right there. So,
$200K.
Excellent job all around.
Dropping out of school, Mom.
All right, UMass taking on Liberty. A.J. Harrison throws to T.Y. We going be Harden. T.Y. we going Harden. T.Y. playing like Hilton. All I got is 3 words for that DB.
Yeah.
You got mossed. But he gets to go home and tell his mom that they won the game 35-34 in overtime. But hey, T.Y. Harding, heck of a play, man. Heck of a play.
All right, start with a little Friday night lights here. Noah Fafita finding his high school teammate, who else? Tetaroa McMillan.
Yes. He's so special.
He is.
Fafita. Touchdown.
Oh, I like that. I like that, man. 3-5-4 from the guy's a monster.
Tetaroa McMillan leading the entire conference in receiving yards this year. Coming to a screen near you on Sundays very soon.
Georgetown versus Fordham. Trey Bradford. Check this out. He intercepts it, but then he pulls his hamstring on the play and pitched it back to his teammate to close out the deal. Just check out the replay. I hope we got it. This is the angle. He says, my hamstring. Here, brother. Finish off the job. Teamwork makes the dream work. Fordham wins it 31-13.
Blown tire there. Blown tire, yeah. It's a get-right game for the Auburn Tigers today.
Yep.
Peyton Thorne to Cale Coleman there. Cam Coleman, one-handed grab, falling on his back. His 3rd touchdown grab of the year. Hey, tough stretch for the Auburn Tigers coming up. They can play spoiler. They got A&M and then Alabama in the Iron Bowl to finish out the season. That is going to be a team to watch there.
All right, we got Marshall taking on Coastal Carolina. Coastal lining up for the field goal, but it is blocked by some big old hamburger helper gloves. Jacoby Henderson recovers it, and just like the kids on Thanksgiving, everyone's coming home. 65-yard touchdown to the Izzows. Marshall would win it 31-3. Special teams?
It was a wild finish here. Cade Klubnik using the wheels. By the way, they had 10 rushing yards at the time of this 50-yard rushing touchdown for Cade Klubnik. Wow. How about it? And this looked like a trouble game for Clemson on the road there. But Cade Klubnik using his wheels and securing the victory for the Tigers.
All right, we got CC over here. They win the game on a 2-point conversion. But check out this play here of how they actually got it done. This absolute madness. We're in Connecticut, and we love to show people love in our little home state here.
That's right. Wow.
But Matt, this is a circus.
That was a glitch right there in the Madden game that I play.
All right, guys, we got to start bringing this to the NFL. High school football team, instead of a coin toss, in the state title game, we have the helicopter toss. One player from each team goes out and tries to get the ball. The winner will get the coin toss, essentially. So they're just wrestling for the football.
XFL. Yeah, like when they first did that stuff in the XFL. I mean, yeah, let's show everybody how much money we have, all right? And we're going to bring a helicopter here and do the thing.
That was the 2-minute drill presented by the Wells Fargo Cash Credit Card.
All right, now let's check in on Penn State as they took on Purdue. They had won 10 straight against Purdue with their last loss coming back in 2004. We start the first drive of the game. Drew Allen hits Katron Allen wide open coming out of the backfield. Penn State gets up 7-0. Now we go to later in the first quarter because it's the next drive for Penn State. Aller finds his favorite target. Tyler Warren, he had an absolute huge day, over 100 yards receiving. Penn State leads 14-0. They run away with it and go on to win it 49-10. But Purdue is the Big Ten doormat. So we can't really take too much from this. But other people seem to be feeling some type of way about where Penn State is ranked. As high as number 4? I don't know. Paul Feinbaum, thoughts?
Penn State? Are you serious? What has Penn State done this year? Do they even have their most impressive win, I think, was at Southern Cal, a 5-loss team, and against Michigan, another 5-loss team. Somewhere in there they beat Illinois, which I haven't seen in a couple of weeks. There's no justification for it. I know I'm getting excited because there's still 3 weeks to go, but how can you not be outraged at what we heard?
Time now for Can't Take the Heat, built by the Home Depot. Strong words from Paul Feinbaum. A lot of SEC fans were less than pleased when they saw the committee's most recent rankings come out.
Yeah.
4 Big Ten teams ranked in the top 5. Warranted or not, much of the ire was taken out at Penn State. I can see the argument for both sides here, guys. I think when you look at Penn State, you look at the games that they've won, they've only lost 1, played it tight with Ohio State. But do you guys think that the strength of conference record, the strength of the conference that you play in, should play more of a factor when it comes to determining the 12-team playoff? Scoob, I'll come to you on this.
I think to an extent it does. Now, I'm sounding a little bit political with this answer, so why am I just beat straight up? No, it definitely should, because when you look at Penn State and their record right now and the team that they've gone against, they really haven't beat anybody. But then you look at a team like Georgia, all right, who have they gone against? They have one of the most difficult schedules in the country. You see the strength of schedule ranking right there on the right side of the screen. They're first in the country. And then Penn State, 32nd. I mean, it really doesn't compare in terms of the teams that you were able to play, the wins and the losses that you have had. And what I see, honestly, from the committee, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, because I want to hear it from you, they're kind of rewarding Penn State for losing to Ohio State, because what other reason do you deserve to be in the top 5?
Man, you can't come to me on this situation because you know me.
Let it out.
Now, yeah, I mean, hey, everyone says ESPN bias, the SEC love and all that stuff. Well, unfortunately, I played in the SEC, and I think it's the best conference in all of football. Yeah. And it's true. And I'm a little disappointed in the fact that, like, the SEC, we just kind of keep picking each other off. And the best team in the SEC, the first-ranked team in the SEC is our Chris Sims Texas Longhorns.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're congratulating them on a good win against Arkansas on the road. Now, I know it's Arkansas, it's the rivalry, all that kind of stuff, and, you know, I'll give them a pass on that one. But just when they played Georgia, they got outclassed. And we saw what Ole Miss did to Georgia. We saw what Ole Miss did to Arkansas. You know, and I just think that it's one of the most competitive conferences in all of football. And, you know, the Big Ten, no one's really played each other. You've had Ohio State versus Oregon. You had Ohio State versus Penn State. So Ohio State's really the best battle-tested football team within that conference. But you see right there,
keep this up.
The strength of schedule ranking right there. I mean, you know, everyone in the SEC is essentially in the top 50 except for Texas at 56.
Yeah, and so if you're a fan and you're looking at this and you're saying, so what? I just need my team to win the games, and it doesn't matter who they play. So for me, that's saying a team like Indiana, and mind you, I love Indiana, but with the 100th strength of schedule, should be ranked in the top 5 versus a Georgia team who has the first most difficult strength of schedule, should be completely out of the college football playoff. Yeah. How is that fair compared to a team that's really challenged themselves? Of course, the question now is, should we just all play cupcake schedules? Because if you're going to get in with your little cupcake schedule where you get to beat up on teams that you're way better than, and we're getting left out because we decided to challenge ourselves, how is that fair, Sam?
It's not. I think James Franklin actually said it before the season started, or maybe it was right after the West Virginia game. Somebody asked him, do you see, you guys continuing to play these out-of-conference games? And he was basically like, no, maybe not, because what's the reward? And we've seen this now come back to haunt and hurt some teams. Now, LSU lost today, but like the USC-LSU game at the start of the year, like that was another game where it was like, what the winner of this game gets set on the right track and the loser gets set on the wrong track.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that there is, if the committee sticks with the way that things have gone so far, which is basically we're rewarding wins and we're not really rewarding your losses or your strength of schedule.
Right.
I don't see how we have these great games out of conference that have been so integral to the sport continuing to grow. So that's a concern for me.
Now, if you say, based on the tape, I just think Indiana and Penn State are better teams. With the way that they play, the way that they've won their football game, it's crisp, efficient football. When you look up and down the roster, they just have more talent. You can say that about Texas. You can say that about Penn State. You just like the talent that's on their team. I completely get that, because when you look at Georgia, although they did play the most difficult schedule, they haven't necessarily looked like a college football playoff offense. So I believe that side of the argument has a point, but then still, if you play a difficult schedule and you're a team like Georgia, who is playing their first home game in 37 days. You've played more ranked games on the road than you have played more games at the crib. You deserve some type of grace, and that is all I have to say.
Let me just play devil's advocate here for just a second, because I think we are all guilty of being blinded by the logos at points. And
yeah, for sure.
If we are going to criticize, let's say, a team like Indiana, who has only beaten one team with a winning record this year, Washington. That's it. We should also apply that same criticism to a team like Texas, who has only beaten one team that has a winning record. And I just don't think that people always go that deep or see that deep into it. But, like, that's a great logo example where the resumes are actually quite similar.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brand thing, and your belief is that a brand that's been consistent yesterday will be consistent today, which means it'll be consistent tomorrow. And that's really what we're going against. And that's where I think the committee has to do a better job of just try to do your best to take the brands out of it, but really think about, all right, who are they playing? How do they look in those football games? And really, too, just like the punishment as well of certain football teams and how you go about that. Because for Georgia, I think, to move as far down as they did after the loss versus Ole Miss, and then all of a sudden Ole Miss gets catapulted up because of that one game, you know, and then the same thing for Indiana. Indiana has a tough win and very unimpressive looking win against Michigan, and they move up like 5 spots. You know, so I'm not really sure how that really made sense to me. So that's one of those things where, like, we need to just slow down with, like, the aggressive moves in the rankings and the seedings of these situations. And then, of course, you always have the discussion of, like, the Notre Dames of the situation, right, who have their own control over their schedule and their independency, right? And they've earned that because of the brand that they have been through the years. But it's really curious. And, you know, what we're getting to is that every year the question will be, all right, how many SEC teams, how many Big Ten teams, and ACC and Big 12 are only getting one, and the rest, the other two will essentially be Notre Dame and whoever.
Right, and the ACC, speaking of, had some more kind of chaos today. SMU was pushed to the brink, but let's go out to the Stanford.
4th down.
This is insane. So we get first play on sportsmanlike conduct. 15-yard penalty here. It is 35-35. There's 1 second left.
Wow.
There's the unsportsmanlike call. Yep. So we're counting.
This is after Stanford got a stop on 4th and 10 against Louisville. I don't know why they were going for it. So they get a 1st and 10. Here we go. Oh, my God.
57-yard attempt, but hold the phone. Lined up for the field goal. Louisville jumps offside.
Louisville has blocked field goals all year this year. They've had a few on their stat sheet, so they're pretty aggressive with trying to get after the field goal.
Emmett Kenny, 52-yard attempt. That extra yardage gave him just enough to finish it off. Stanford with a huge upset. It was the 4th biggest upset of the season. They were projected to, I think it was a 20-point upset in this game, and they win at 38-35. Emmett Kenny, by the way, both of Stanford's ACC wins. They have 2 ACC wins. Both of them were walk-off field goals by Emmett Kenny. They did the same thing against Syracuse earlier this year. Yeah. How about that?
Oh, my God.
It's just fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Hell no.
It's a bad loss for Louisville. It definitely is. And it really doesn't help the ACC's case either as far as
it doesn't.
Their strength of their rankings right now, too, especially with the way that Clemson struggled against Pitt.
Yeah.
You know, but SMU keeping their season alive with their performance against BC, even though that was a tough football game. So it really is coming down to the wire of just 2 teams, SMU and Miami.
All right, we got a couple of upsets. Excuse me. We have a couple of updates from the Tennessee and Georgia game here. This is the quick 1-yard rush from Kitzelman there to get Tennessee on the board. They would score first, and then Carson Beck, Oscar Delp.
Too high look right there, split safety. Oscar Delp runs the seam, bending over the top of the middle linebacker right there, and Carson Beck, beautiful throw over the top in rhythm. And that you see those plays right there, and that makes you think like, man, that's the good Carson Beck that we've been waiting to see right there in rhythm. You see his ability to throw the football accurately down the football field right there, and great protection. That'll be the key for them as the game continues to go on.
Georgia has won 7 straight between these two. And all 7 wins coming by at least 14 points. Scoob is going to grab us the live look-in button. We are going to go back between the hedges and catch up on what's been.
Hey,
Scoob.
I can walk now.
He's got the first day
new
with
day, baby.
First day with a new feet for Scoob. He's going to go back up to the screen here.
People know that you can walk now if they watch our college football ranking show every Tuesday night. Check us out.
We are. Fumble.
Oh,
fumble.
Scooby, this is the problem.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a ruling on the field here. There's a fumble. Let's see if we get a replay.
I fumbled
here.
and they fumbled at the same time? Okay.
Let's see if we get a replay. But as it stands right now, we are just early on in the second. Georgia down by 3. Here comes the call. All right, so Georgia fans happy about that.
The thing about Georgia coming into this game and what they've done all season. Nobody in the country has been hurt by drop passes more than this team.
Yeah.
Carson Beck's drop passes, had they been completed, he would have, close to 300 yards more, Sam, on the stat book?
At least, yeah, at least. And they've also turned, obviously, the
That's
turnovers.
number 1, by the way.
The turnovers are a problem.
Yep. The turnovers are a problem. The injuries, having offensive linemen, mix and matching throughout the football season too because of injuries. That's been hurting for this football team. The injuries today now for the running back room. ETN out tonight. These are big things. And,
nice
Georgia,
quick.
Here's those receivers.
Come on.
Wow.
Fumble.
Gosh.
Oh, he recovered. He recovered.
Man.
I mean, they are playing with fire right now.
Goodness gracious.
That's a good example, right, of what I said earlier, like that receiver screen at the line of scrimmage there to Smith. They're trying to get the guy out in space, break a tackle. Really good punch out there. Man, missed opportunity for Tennessee in that situation.
That's what Tennessee is good at. Honestly, this game feels like it's going to be more similar to the Kentucky one than anything. In the past, we've seen this game become a track meet, a lot of points, but I don't know. And mind you, Georgia has dominated this series. Their average winning margin, what is it, 4 touchdowns?
Like I said, they've won 7 straight by an average of 14 points, I think, or at least 14 points in each. But the interesting thing, too, about Georgia and their offense, sure, give Beck some of the blame for their struggles this year. I don't understand how this team is ranked 104th in rushing offense this year. This is an offensive line that has NFL prospects up and down in their 2 deep. That does not make any sense to me. Here's Beck on second
where you
and
look
6.
is just Mike Bobo and how he's calling the
that
plays.
was actually a good, come on, man. That was a good
that's
ball.
The key. Just is Mike Bobo calling the plays? Is he orchestrating the offense and layering concepts consistently enough to help his football team?
That's a good ball.
Just a one-on-one fade situation. Yeah, it wasn't really aware.
This is going to be a huge spot, guys. Game within the game, 3rd down. Tennessee ranks 2nd in the nation in 3rd down stops this year. This is a 3rd and 6, and a really crucial one in the red zone for Georgia.
All right, so Tennessee looks like they're going to go with a 4-man rush here. Looks like it's playing quarters coverage.
Oh, you got it. Good timing on it. That was great timing. I mean, Beck threw that right as he was getting out of his break.
I'm looking at the screen that's behind. Okay.
You gotta look over here.
Yeah, my bad. I'm like, why are you guys saying things that haven't happened yet? Really good ball right there on the sprint out. Comeback route. Really good look right there. But what happens to Georgia if, for whatever reason, they are to lose this football game? They were 2nd in the rankings 2 weeks ago. They lose to Ole Miss. They drop all the way to 12, just 1 week apart. A 3-loss Georgia team. We heard Heather right on our show, our ranking show, Tuesday night, say that there have been 13 teams with 3 losses in the top 12.
Yep.
So, is that essentially, are they hoping that they're now the 14th team potentially in that situation?
Yeah.
But that was a really good throw right there on the sprint out. And really just, this is where Tim Banks and the Tennessee defense need to come up in a clutch situation in the low red zone area. Can you hold them to a field goal and keep this a 10-10 football game?
Yeah, and with Tennessee, you feel really good about what your defensive front can do right here in the red area. I mean, they're fifth in yards per carry given up in the country, so Georgia's not going to be able to run the ball easy on them, and ETN is not in the game, so let's see what they get drawn up here. Okay?
Nice play.
I like
Very
that.
nice
I like
play.
That.
Down to the 1 yard line.
What's a flag here, though? That's not good.
So that is a play that we saw a year ago that was typically run to Brock Bowers consistently, right? In an obvious running situation where they're trying to show power to the field in a toss situation or, outside zone concept, and they send that late motion by the tight end across and hand the football off in a speed sweep.
Let's see what the flag is here.
Oh, it was Bell on that one.
Bell,
Okay.
Bell.
Yeah.
Still down. Flag on the play, though. I'm not sure it was
They're
holding on the outside.
still talking it over.
This penalty doesn't back up.
Sometimes it's really frustrating when these officials try to talk plays over for such a long time. But Josh Heupel, guys, if he's able to get this win, think about what he's already accomplished in terms of getting rid of the curses for Tennessee.
All right, offside. So
Offsides, okay. So they're good.
That'll be declined.
So you just run the play. No, you'll take the 5.
Take the 5 there?
Yeah, you'll take the 5 because they were already on like.
They were on the 1, right?
You
They got
get
down
to at
the
least
1?
run the down back.
Yeah.
But Josh Heupel, you've already beat Alabama, right? Now you get this opportunity to possibly beat Georgia. They've already had some key wins here.
No, I think this is also a must-win game, I think, for Tennessee, too. When you look at...
Really?
I think so. Yeah, I know even the numbers say, even with a loss, I think they have like a 60% chance to still make it to the college football playoff. But,
yeah,
I mean, there's also a real good chance that 7-point win over Alabama was the only win over a team that's bowl eligible this year for Tennessee and their resume. But we'll keep an eye on this game. We will move it along here. We got some other updates to talk about. And also, with the college football playoff selection day just 3 weeks away tomorrow, we will kind of figure out where the teams stand. Time now for AT&T countdown to the CFP National Championship. This is a matchup that we have been waiting for quite a while, guys. Indiana going to put their undefeated record on the line in Columbus, Ohio next week. College Game Day will be there ahead of the game. A lot of folks saying that Indiana, even with a close loss to Ohio State, would still make the college football playoff field. But before we get to the CFP implications for this game, Maddie, I want to ask you about the play on the field. What are you going to be looking out for in this game?
Yeah, Indiana really had a tough time moving the football in the second half of that football game against Michigan. The key will be, can they run the football consistently like they've done all year? The physicality of their offensive line and being able to stay ahead of the chains, as they say, right? Good first and second down runs have been the key for this football team to be successful. And Curtis Rourke has been playing phenomenal football, right? The second half of that game against Michigan was arguably the worst half that he's played as an Indiana Hoosier. So those are things where we need to see a little bit of what Ohio State did against Penn State with game plan specific plays to help their quarterback and their run game get explosives early on in the game so they can build momentum off of those.
I think I'm looking at how does Ohio State start this game? Because what we've seen from them all season long is slow starts in the first quarter. Think back to that Penn State game.
Yeah.
Well, they were down 10-0 in the first quarter. Think about it today. They were down 7-0 against Northwestern in the first quarter. If you're Indiana, what you want to do is jump on this Ohio State team as quickly as possible. Force them to be in passing situations. I know they got a lot of weapons out there, but I'm going to see if Will Howard can really beat me. I don't want those running backs to get going because then that's eventually going to open up everything else down the field.
Yeah.
And then now we got to bring our guys up to be able to challenge them. So how is that battle going to work out? And teams have been targeting this Ohio State secondary as well. How is it going to go with this Indiana team who's been able to make explosive plays again and again all season long?
It's going to be fascinating, too, because Kurt Signetti just re-upped a contract for a boatload of money, too. So this would be a great win to start it, and well-earned.
Don't let that man leave.
No, right? Yeah.
No doubt.
So is
Lock
Indiana
him in his house?
Is Indiana out if they lose this game?
I think they are, yes. Well, I think it depends on how they lose.
Yeah.
If they lose by a field goal, all right, I'll give them a fighting chance, all right? Now, if they
where's your
if
ceiling?
they get smoked, if it's a 3 or more touchdown type of football game, toodaloo, you are not going to the college football playoff.
All right, so It has
and
to be
right there because
no more than
strength of schedule.
no more than 2 touchdowns. So you're putting the cap at 2 touchdowns. You can't lose by more than 2.
I would say you can maybe make a case if it was like a 14-point victory for Ohio State, but if it's 21, like it is like when we play
Pass the sticks.
and so, you're off. And I think that's really what it is. So that'll be interesting to see how this comes. This plays out in this football game. And for this game, which team do you guys think would be like who? Indiana's got a really. This is the biggest game ever, right?
Yeah.
So are they going to be tight, or is it we got nothing to lose, let's let it fly, right? Or is it like for Ryan Day and them like. This is just what we do. Every game for us at Ohio State, it's a big deal. It's tough. It's under a lot of pressure and scrutiny. So that's why I'm kind of curious to see, like, are we going to see an Indiana team play like how Navy was against Notre Dame, where they're just kind of like uncomfortable in this big moment with the whole country watching us? Or are they going to be really dialed in and ready to go?
There is something to like the we don't know what we don't know sort of thing, right?
That's true, yeah.
And I think with Curt Cignetti, a lot of the players, you got to keep in mind, have been with him from the jump. Like they got like 13 starters on this team that played at JMU. So I think that they play a little bit loose. There's no question in my mind, Scoob, that the most pressure in this game is on Ohio State and Ryan Day.
Absolutely.
To win big. Not only win, but win big.
Because, quite frankly, if Ohio State loses this game, I think they're in more trouble than Indiana would be, even if you lose this game by a field goal, Ohio State. Because now we're going to start asking, who did y'all really beat, right? Penn State Penn State is your only one, and who has Penn State really beat? So it becomes a domino thing where it's okay, Penn State, you haven't really been beat by a good Ohio State team that just lost to Indiana, and things are just going to start to compound. I'm a guy that loves madness in college football, so inject this into my veins. And to think, guys, before the season started, if I would have told you that Indiana, Ohio State is going to be Ohio State's biggest game of the season towards the back half rather than Michigan, Ohio State, how would you have reacted if I said that?
I would have probably said that you shouldn't be on the show.
But that's where I'm interested in, too, with Indiana moving up so far in the rankings after just beating Michigan. The playoff committee is almost rewarding Ohio State even more so with the victory against the number 5 team in the country.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they're almost like looking out for them in a sense by moving Indiana that much far up after just a 1-week difference beating Michigan.
More pressure on Ohio State.
Right? That's what we established.
Let's go ahead and pick this game, too, because this is going to be probably, again, the biggest game in Indiana Hoosiers football history. And obviously dedicating a lot of money and moolah to that program with Curt Cignetti. Here's our picks. We have not had a great year. It has not been a great year.
We're not going to college football playoff.
You're 500. You're 500 though, Sam. That's not bad, buddy.
No, it's not. It's not great.
I can't believe I'm happy about my record right now, considering that I'm actually not that far out of the lead. But still.
You've been making some movements, though. All right, let's pick this game. Ohio State.
As long as I don't listen to our producer, I'm good.
And Indiana. I'm picking Ohio State in this game. I think that they are under pressure and they are up against the wall. I think they're going to win this game. Scoop?
I mean, Ohio State's at the cribbo, so you got to be able to take them in this game. I think this is their year to win it. Ohio State, it is championship or bust.
Interesting. I'm going with the Ohio State Buckeyes as well. I'm going with Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think Will Howard does it on the ground in key situations for them. And I think Chip Kelly will do very similar to what he did against Penn State. He will have a few dialed-up plays specifically for Indiana to kind of get them out of jail in certain situations. I think the defense will play well. I think they'll be able to slow down the Indiana rushing attack, will then make it a little bit more difficult for them in the passing game. I think Ohio State's going to do exactly what they did versus Penn State, be really aggressive at the line of scrimmage. They're going to be honed in on stopping the run and really jam and reroute the receivers of Indiana tremendously in every play.
We got one more pick to make here in the Big 12, which has just given us craziness all year long. Kansas and BYU. If you're looking for crazy kind of stats, well, Kansas has played a ton of one-score games this year. I believe 5 games have been decided by 4 points or less, and they have lost all of them. I mean, they have been in tight games all year long, and they just found out that they can actually win one last week against Iowa State.
Right.
So I'm going to take Kansas to go and upset the undefeated BYU Cougars on the road.
I'm with you, Sam.
Yeah?
I'm going with you.
Okay.
All right, Kansas, the Jayhawks. I don't know why Honestly, I think BYU is the better football team, but I feel like Kansas is just going to ruin their season.
BYU has escaped with some narrow victories this season, especially that Kansas State game.
They're gritty.
Let's not forget the Utah game where it took a questionable call for them to be able to get to where they were in terms of kicking that game-winning field goal. But I'm still going to take BYU to win this. I know it's scary. The bettors know something. You're talking about an undefeated conference team on a night game, and they're only a 2.5-point favorite. That's scary.
What scares me.
That is scary.
Well, you know, Vegas, they do some real witchy things here, man. So I'm like, okay, hey, let's see what happens.
All right, that'll do it for us. We've gone 10 minutes over, so our producer Brian is not too thrilled with us.
Sorry, Brian.
We really appreciate you guys that have joined with us today. Thank you so much for watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T. We will see you Tuesday night post-rankings for a new rankings reaction show. So that will be on Tuesday night, right where you're watching us.
Let's go! Rocky Top, the real UT.